Hi guys, my name is Vanessa. I have a channel that is all about being visually impaired and my daily life as a visually impaired person in college, in life, working, all that kind of stuff. It might have a little bit of stuff that's all over the place, but mostly I just like to reach out to anybody who maybe is trying to figure out how to do things as a visually impaired person or just wants some insight on it, or also people who just became visually impaired and want to know more about it. Um, Today I'm going to tell a story about how a company bluntly discriminated against me just because I was visually impaired. Um, this happened about a year or two ago, and at the time, it was very emotional for me to go through it, but I feel like it's made me a stronger person and it's made me more independent, I feel, because I've heard stories about it, but I've never actually been discriminated against like that before, so it was an eye-opening experience and I wouldn't regret it. But all right, I'm gonna get into the story. So after college, I finished my associate's degree, and I wanted to get started on working because I did have a little job at my church, taking care of kids, but I wanted to do more than that. I wanted to have some experience in working because I've never worked before. So after my associates, there's this program in my state, where it's called vocational rehab. I'm pretty sure a lot of different states have vocational rehab for a bunch of different disabilities. And I applied to get vocational rehab, and what you do is you get paired with a person and they place you with a job. Like, they help you get interviews, they help you apply, and every month you have to go to a required meeting at the place it's like the home base of it. So I was paired with a lady and she was helping me get some interviews. We were applying and I've had a couple interviews before, but they didn't really go well. And I got a call to go in from this company, and basically what I would be doing is going to different, I think it was preschools or elementary schools that needed a sub, and I would be an assistant teacher, not a main teacher. And I know there are some companies that are not supposed to leave assistant teachers by themselves, but I was applying for an assistant position, which means I cannot be left by myself, and I needed a lead teacher with me, which I was hesitant on getting the job as a lead teacher because I know there's liability issues with that, but I feel like I can handle an assistant position just because I'm not totally blind. I can see to an extent, and I've worked with children, and I'm very careful on like not running into them and having them fall on the floor and stuff. But anyway, it was in a big corporate office in the city where I live, and I went to the interview. I took an Uber there, and my vocational lady met me. And I filled out an application before, but there was another application that they wanted you to fill out. So I got there and I told them I was there, and they made copies of my diploma and stuff. And that was it. I just waited until my turn was coming. And there was two offices there. It was like a square room with an office here and an office here. Office on the left and office on the right, if I'm trying to paint a picture for people who can't see there, because I used my hands to locate where they were. But yeah, so there was two offices. One was, I guess, a big corporate leader of the company, and then the other one was just the hiring agent. I think they were both hiring, but I got the one, I guess, that was ranked lower in the company. So I went in. She had someone in there before, and then she called me in, and I accidentally went to the wrong door. And the lady's like, "Oh, are you here for me?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "I'm here for so-and-so." Oh, she's like, "She's next door." And so I went next door. The interview went really well. She said I just needed to go and get a drug test and fingerprinted. And she was asking me some questions. Like, she was trying to pick around it, because there are some laws where you can't bluntly ask someone who has a disability, "Oh, are you going to be able to see this? Oh, are you going to be able to read to the children, blah, blah, blah." And she basically asked me, "Will I be able to read to the children?" Which I let it slide, because I know people are curious and they want to, like, kind of know how I'll do this position. And I'm like, and she kind of asked me about transportation, which I don't think she was supposed to either. And she also asked, well, she didn't ask this yet. Okay, so the interview went really well. Okay, she's like, "Okay, well, I'll send you the link to do your 43 hours, because I didn't have 43, 45. I don't know how many hours it was, but you have to have a certain amount of hours to work with children, and have I think it was like a CPR class." And I was like, "Okay, I'll do all this, I'll do all that, and then I'm going to get the fingerprints today. I can get them today, and then I'll send them to you." And she's like, "Okay, cool." And then I come home, and this is when I was living with my parents, and me and my husband were living with my parents, and he was doing an internship because he was getting an associate's in criminology, and he had to have, or criminal justice, and he had to have some hours, but he was like not home. He was shadowing like a police officer. And so I was just waiting. She said she would call me back and let me know. And then I get a call, and she's like, "Okay, well, she seemed like kind of hesitant to talk to me, and she's like, "Well, so working with children, would you be able to, like, let's say if a child fell down and was bleeding, would you be able to see if he was okay, or if he's bleeding, or if he broke something?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yes, I am applying for an assistant position, but if I was by myself, which I shouldn't be, I would be able to see a kid fall down, and anyways, if a kid fell, they would cry and scream, and I definitely would be able to locate them through voice." And I know it's probably a liability having a visually impaired person, but I wouldn't be the main teacher there, and I would just be an assistant, and there will always be someone with me. And so she was like, "Oh, well, hold off on the fingerprinting, because I know you're gonna do that. I'll call you back." And she called me back, and she said, "Oh, I don't think this position would be good for you because of the traveling." I really don't know what she said, but basically I didn't get the job. And then she called my vocational leader, the lady who wanted to hire me, and she's like, "Oh no, I couldn't hire her because I was going to get in trouble, because I guess the lady in the office next to her came over to her and told her, 'You're going to hire her? She's blind, she can't help with the kids, and we're going to get in trouble for hiring her.'" And the lady, so she was telling the lady who hired me that, and then the lady who was going to hire me called my vocational leader and told her all this was going on. And she's like, "Yeah, this is why I'm going to get a new job in 3 weeks. I already got offered a new job because this company does like some sketchy stuff and this is not right. And so she couldn't really do much, which she was really nice and she was gonna hire me, but the other lady was being very discriminatory. And I know there was probably a lot of things going through her head, like, how is she going to read to the children? How is she going to do crafts? What if a kid hurts himself? He can go to the hospital and if he falls and breaks something, she won't even see it. But, like, I feel like I would be able to handle the situation. And, again, I would be an assistant teacher. And so that is illegal. You cannot do that. Like, there's some companies who work their way around not hiring you because you have a disability, but if you blatantly deny someone of a disability of a job, it is illegal. And so that happened. And then that next week we got together and we had the meeting like we usually do, like at the main office, like I said. And at that meeting, she discussed it with everyone, and she's like, this client happened to have a situation where she was getting discriminated, and she didn't like use my name or anything, but she's like, what would you guys do in this situation? And it was like a whole bunch of people who are also looking for jobs who are blind and visually impaired. And they're like, oh yeah, we would sue because that's not right for them to do that, and blah blah blah. And I was thinking about it at first, but in the end I was just like, no, I'll just find something else and just move on from that situation, because that's just gonna be so much work. And I know I should have done further steps into that, but I was just like, no. And I know if someone else with a disability goes there, they're going to be discriminated against too, but whatever. Not whatever, that's not right. But I just didn't further what I wanted to do with that. But anyway, that was a story. I didn't further the problem because after that I applied to a supermarket. And then I was like, oh, I think I'm just going to go back to school because that will probably help me be less discriminated against, even though that's sad to say, because I'll at least have a bachelor's degree under my belt and have an education, and they'll be like, oh, this girl knows what she's doing because she has an education. And so that's why I decided to go back to school after that. And I'm also working at the supermarket on the weekends. But I feel like that was the best decision I could have made. I wasn't going to go back to school, but I feel like I had a goal and I wanted to pursue a bachelor's. So I feel like that situation helped me better my life because I've made so many good friends and learned so much through my major, because I'm also working with people with disabilities with my major, and I'm gonna cry. Okay. I feel like that will help me and help me feel like I'm doing better. So, for the world. So, and also learning through the people who have disabilities, because I could relate to them, you know? And yeah, so that was my story. I hope you enjoyed it. If anyone is watching, if you have any questions or have any suggestions for any videos I should post in the future, just put them down there and let me know. All right. I'm sorry I haven't been posting much with the problem that is going on in the world. I was finishing school and my exams were coming up, and I have a week off now, so I'm going to try to upload this video as soon as possible and try to upload more consistently. So, yeah, if you have any questions, leave them below. Bye, guys. Oh, bye, guys.